And here's part 3 of the podcast with Daniel Wu.
Hey, Daniel, what is, I don't want to get too deep, but like you're the perfect person to ask about this because you are a gigantic star, overseas in Asia. You have so much connection with China, and you're essentially American in the way you think. Like, with this whole xenophobia stuff is like, what? First of all, like, just like, what is the solution, man? Like, how do we?
I don't know.
How do we overcome this?
I think that what we were just talking about now. It's like our tendencies as humans is to be tribal and defend our tribe like crazy, right? But what we really need to be doing right now is like, especially in times like this, we need to get together. Everyone needs to get together and fight this fucking thing, right? And not put hate on each other and not be divisive and separate everyone else out so that we're all dealing with this on our own. We should deal with this as a collective whole. I'm not even just Americans. The whole planet is going through this at one time right now. This has never happened in the history of time, that everyone's going through the same thing at the same time. And so we should be getting together to fight this thing instead of fighting each other about, oh, it's a hoax or this and that. I mean, the reality is it's happening, right? People are dying, right? And so we need to deal with it. And whether you agree with where it came from and blah, 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 that's irrelevant right now, because the problem is it's a huge problem that we need to deal with, right? And if we're fighting each other, it's just not going to get solved. So I'm like disheartened that the energy has gone that way instead of to a place where we can all get together and be the same as human beings, like whatever your race or wherever country you're from or whatever, and fight this thing. Yeah, there are bad people and there are idiots in the world all over the place. In every country there is, right? But we need to forget about those people right now and get community together to help fight this together and get through this together, right? Instead of fighting each other. I mean, it's sad. It's sad that it's happening this way. I'm really bummed out because I also feel helpless in terms of like, how do we change this direction that we're heading in?
Yeah, how do we change it? That's
Start with the small things. I think, grains of sand make a desert, right? So I don't know if that was the best metaphor, but yeah, like little small things. Be kind to people. Be a little bit kinder, or something pisses you off. Just like check yourself real quick and see if that's coming from the right place. Because we're all stressed out. This is a stressful situation, and it's easy to start like blaming people and wanting to say hateful things to people to make yourself feel better in that moment. But does it really make you feel better? Does it really help things in the end? I don't think so. I think everyone knows this feeling. When you've done something good for somebody, you feel fucking good inside, right? So we should be doing that. We should be doing that instead of like spitting out anger and hate and reactions to hate and blah, 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 blah. Like I did it. I'm guilty of it yesterday because I felt like, Trump said this thing about like Chinese Americans also mad at China. I'm like, well, don't speak for us, right? Because you're not Chinese American, so you can't speak for us. And I shouldn't have reacted like that because it's just stoking the fire. I'm thinking now that I shouldn't have done that, but at the same time, I couldn't hold back. So I think I need to check myself. We all need to check ourselves and go, hey, let's not be hot-headed and reactionary about this, but let's look at this like a card project. This is the problem. What are the little steps we need to take to get this thing done?
Yeah. It's not me, it's us.
Yeah. And that's really the real reality. It's all of us, all human beings, right?
Yeah.
But that's easier said than done. Everyone's different. Everyone thinks differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, because we're locked up pretty much, basic interaction, daily interaction is so limited. Most of the stuff if I watch TV or I get in that rabbit hole of starting to read the news, man, I wake up paranoid. And then I go to the store and you see everybody in the mask, all you see is eyes, they're just,
right. You don't know if they're smiling. You don't know if they're mad. You don't know anything. Right?
You're looking at me, or hey, I'm looking at you. Or, it's just like weird suspicion. It's like someone's like, and you're like, whoa, hey, you, whoa, right? And,
well, yeah. In some ways, the masks are intimidating. That's why, like SWAT team people wear those balaclavas, not because they're protecting their identity, because they look scary as shit with those things on, right? So when you put a mask on and a hat and glasses and all that, you become almost non-human. So
yeah, I mean. you can, kindness is easy to do without the mask because you can smile. You can give somebody a nice gesture, right? So
right.
Now you have to actually go to the extra step. Is that, I think you're right. It is the baby steps of thanking everybody at the store. Like I look at the workers, man, and the stress, right? And then you sit there and you complain about, some engine part that, is not available, right? And you go,
I'm bored. I'm bored right now,
Yeah.
Wait, think about the people that are busting their asses and risking their lives for all of us right now.
Yeah, man. It's baby steps. Baby steps.
But we need hugs. Hugs will help us, right? But we can't do that right now. So unfortunately, we got to figure out another way to express that.
Yeah.
So, Sung, you remember? I guess but one of the videos you guys just released, you were talking about how you were out at the grocery store and you were like trying to hold in coughs and stuff. So, and it wasn't you being sick or nothing. It was just natural body reactions and everything, and how you were looking at you weird and stuff. You remember that one?
Yeah.
We felt that way the other day when we went to the Asian supermarket.
Really?
Yeah, we felt like they were just side-eyeing us and looking at us funny and like, what the hell are these two girls doing here? More out of place than usual. Yeah, more out of place than usual. And it was a weird feeling. It was a definite weird feeling. So I really don't think that it's a just you kind of thing. It's and everyone kind of a tribal thing again. So I don't.
I agree with you.
That makes sense.
With you. Oh yeah.
It's become cyclical. Cyclical.
Oh, totally.
Everyone reacts, and then it becomes everyone can't be friends anymore. It's like
the Salem witch trials. It's
this is how bad it is, Jess.
I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what you're thinking.
Yeah, I went to the Korean market. The market, the grocery store is pretty big. There's a whole bunch of gigantic Korean superstore. Like they're almost like a Vons or a Ralph's here, right? Mm-hmm. And so we went to the one near our neighborhood, and so they sell mostly Korean product, right? But they have Asian stuff and a lot of Chinese and, other Asians and non-Asians come and they shop there, right? And then there were two Chinese women walking around without masks and they were speaking Chinese. And because I can understand Korean and my wife is fluent in Korean, so she can understand everything and all the slang, the Koreans were freaking out and going, and it was bad. It was like nasty, like how the beep, 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 like why the beep, beep, like they're in here like beep, beep. They brought it from beep, beep, like take it back to, Wuhan and all that. And I was sitting there going, hey man, it's not a white against like Asian thing. It's not, it's like, even I'm speaking for Koreans. I go, Koreans are some of the most racist people I've ever met, right? I've ever met. So, and I've met some people in the clan, and I met some Koreans that are worse than clan members, right? And so I feel you. I feel you on that. Is that I think, and then it made me step back and I go, people are scared. Yeah, they're just scared, and they want somebody to blame, and they're gonna blame these two, like high school Chinese girls who are kind of lost and they don't know what they're doing. They're probably there trying to buy masks, right? They're lost, but no one's helping them. Because they don't speak Korean, they're English. No one in the store speaks English, and so they're walking around like all frustrated, and everyone's like looking at them like, "Hey, you're the enemy." And I felt bad for them. I really, really felt bad. So I agree with you. It's not. I don't think it's a white against Asian thing, or you're right. So thanks for bringing that up. It is tribal. It is very, very tribal. People are scared. And what do common people do when they're scared? They defend.
They clamshell up. Yeah.
Yeah. They point fingers, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like, we need to do the opposite. We need to open our hearts up, open up everything, and just be, one community of people, and stop all that bullshit.
Well, what do you guys, Justin, Meagan? I mean, you guys get shit on, you get stuff talked about because you guys are like female or women builders, or they think less of because
Big time.
So we actually discussed this the other day, and I'm going to let Megan talk about it. No, you were talking about it. Because you and Lyrics Born were talking about toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
And you were right, but not inclusive, if that makes sense. So, like, with us, it's completely different than anything I heard you guys talk about. But Megan was better about talking about it. So, it's your turn.
I don't even know. It's insane because there's so many different subtle things that people don't even realize. Because it's just like saying, oh, you're not strong enough, let me help you in life. Well, you don't know that. If I ask for your help, that's cool, that's fine. But a lot of people make assumptions on your capabilities and what you can do just because you are a female. And or even, not even about being a female, but about how long you've been doing it. I've had men treat me terribly because I'm 21 years old. I shouldn't be able to do something as good as or better than someone that's been in doing it for 15 years.
Man.
So it's crazy on how many different ways it goes. And I've gotten a lot more respect from like 50 to 80-year-olds than I have from like 20 to 40-year-olds. It's crazy. I feel like it's an ego thing. It's a feeling that I need to be better than a female, not helping and not building up. It's a very judgmental thing where they think that there can't be space for everyone. And they think if you do better, then that reflects badly upon them.
Yep.
And that's a really hard thing to take.
Yeah, that's probably like small penis syndrome too, right? Like,
Well,
I mean, come on, right? Like, come on. If they're gonna get mad at you, if they're gonna be talking shit about you because your work is like at top level, but they can't handle that. But come on, man, get out of here. You know what I mean? Like, what is that? I don't know. What is that? That's nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I get that. I'm sure there are people. And a 20-year-old to a 40-year-old dude's ego. Come on, you know they haven't lived life long enough to have that balance yet for a lot of guys. So
they've got too much testosterone flowing, and that's why their ego is so big. And once you get past that age, it all calms down. And that's why the older dudes are much more receptive because they don't give a shit anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah. None of those barriers are there anymore.
Hey, but Meg also really, know that, when guys are extra, like they're like, they get extra, like into like, being better than you, it actually means they probably like you a little bit too. So, keep that in mind. You know what I mean? What? What did you say?
No, thank you.
Oh, no, thanks. Yeah.
Well, it also goes in with like, sometimes they're just trying to be what they've been taught to be a gentleman, right? But in that situation, they don't realize like you're highly skilled and then maybe don't necessarily need that help. So they're not really even sure how to act. So probably sometimes I'm sure there's a group of guys that act that way because they're just trying to be nice, and maybe overdoing it.
Some of them, but I've also had like situations like where we would bounce ideas off of each other for a card build, and I'd get shit on because my thought process, my design got chosen over theirs.
That's just testosterone ego.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm sorry, but like I think this way because I talk to the customer. Like I see their vision, and it's a group decision on where we went, but it got blamed on me for not having their idea put into the vehicle.
Like how
because women are better listeners anyway, so
it's supposedly.
That's probably why you're better at it.
Yeah.
So, it's weird. It's a lot of simple things that men would be okay taking from other men in any situation that they can't take from a female. Yeah. And it's crazy because you feel like you're a team. You feel like you bounce ideas off each other. You work together. And then
almost
boom,
a family.
Yeah, and then boom, they turn around on you and say, well,
how dare you have a better idea than me?
Exactly. How dare you have brains? Yeah. It's pretty much how you take it. And it's
infuriating.
Very infuriating.
Like we were doing something and I had someone be like, oh, well, do you need help? Are you okay? And I'm like, oh, honey, I have chucked like 50 transmissions into a scrap bin out of the back of a truck. I really don't need your fucking help lifting up a seat, okay? Like, leave me alone.
Wow. So, dang, that was, what a reaction. Well, so let me ask you this. So, do you mind if a guy opens the door for you to be a gentleman? Is that
no?
Or
I would work for them too. So
it's common courtesy.
Yeah,
it's not a sexist thing. Nah. Because like I would do it for anybody. If I'm behind you, it'd be nice for you to keep the door open for me.
And then you would keep the door open for the person behind you. It's just how it is. Yeah.
It's just like if your hands were full, I'd run up and open the door for you. Yep. I'd expect the same thing. I think it's just a very common courtesy thing that people lack these days.
Well, and some women want to bitch and complain about dudes opening the door for them for attention, but that's a completely different topic.
Right. Yeah, well, it's interesting, Daniel. They see it as like, no, it's common courtesy you do for everybody, but I'm going, I ain't gonna open the door for Daniel. Like, come on, man, you just follow me in, man. We're dudes. Like, I love him, but I'm not gonna be like, here you are, Daniel. But for you guys, it's ingrained in me. It's what you do for a lady. It's like you wait and you go, here you are. You know, like if you guys were to come to the table, you know, you're taught to stand up and go, oh, good to see you, and you sit back down, right? But then with, you know, if the dude, I don't care. Like I'll be sitting there eating my pork chop. It's like, you come, hey man, have a seat. Have a seat and have some pork chop. But you know, it's different, right? So it's, but you guys see it as like it's common courtesy for everybody. That's the interesting, Daniel, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's
we're kind of at the age where we're conditioned. Like we have some old school thoughts, but we're also a little new school. So it's kind of interesting for us to see like new perspectives of that.
Yeah.
What about this one? What about opening the door for the passenger of the car?
Oh no.
You wouldn't appreciate that? Yeah. You wouldn't even appreciate that? Okay. All right, Jess. So I love you.
You love me. It's about you'd appreciate it, but do we expect it? No. Do we demand it? No.
No, it's not about demanding, but you don't get offended, right? You don't go, hey man, I got arms. Like, right? Okay.
I used to. So George and I have been dating for like 7 odd years now. And at the very beginning, I'm like, get the fuck away from me. Like, do not touch my shit. And then now I'm just like, oh, thanks. I'm going to get in the truck now. It just is I had a chip on my shoulder when I was younger.
You gotta give the dudes a little bit of space, because I'll tell you this: if a guy's in a relationship with you, he's constantly trying to find ways to show how he can love you, right? Or show his love for you.
He buys me cars. Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's a good one. That's a very good one. But they're always trying.
For those who don't have that money, a door opening is maybe all they got. You know what I mean?
But sometimes it's those little things that count, and so they're trying to find a way to make the little things count. You know? So.
Yeah. Trying to woo at that time, but now it's just habit and it doesn't even matter anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, here's the final question on this topic. Is that I think Daniel and I probably, we're from the same era, so, and we kind of maybe we're similar in this sense, is that if we go on a date, I would always pay. No, not you, Daniel. With a female, if I went on a date, I feel that not because I'm a guy and they don't, and they're a girl and they can't, it's just like, it's my obligation and my privilege to pay for dinner.
Okay.
To pick up the check.
That depends. It depends on who initiated the date. Did she initiate? Because if she invites you somewhere, then that's her. But if he's like, oh, hey, do you want to go out to dinner? I'd be like, fuck yeah, bitch, you're paying. Like, come on, let's
go. All right, that's a good answer. I'll take that.
And back onto that, what we were talking about a little bit earlier. It's only Megan and I.
Yeah, we don't have brothers.
We don't have brothers. So Dad raised us like boys. So that whole opening the door for everyone courtesy kind of thing and like all that sort of stuff, that's from Dad.
Also, he is from
an older generation than you guys. Yeah, he's
oh shit.
He's like 62 or something like that.
So he's from an older generation.
A small town.
And his parents were even older than that because he was a youngest of his six siblings.
Yeah, Grandpa and Grandma were born in the teens and 20s.
Yeah. So it's way older times, I guess.
Yeah.
And about just being nice to everybody.
Until reason is given otherwise.
Yeah. And just like, you help out elders, you help out everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody needs it every once in a while. And so that's kind of what we were taught was just, why not? It doesn't take any skin off your back to be nice to anybody.
Yep.
So why not do it?
Yep.
That's what I was saying earlier. This is what we need to do now. We need to be nicer to each other, right? We need to go back to old school values and just be nice to people.
We almost
that will change.
Like almost depression era, if that makes sense, because everybody rallied together when all that crap happened. Like farmers, friends helped friends, like strangers were helping other strangers. Like they were trying to all stay alive and afloat. So like, why are we not doing that? Is it because the generations are too far apart and like that didn't actually get talked about and we didn't learn it from the elders? Or is it just because everybody hates everybody? I don't know. But
I think it's all me, and
yes, yeah. But everyone is the center of their own universe.
Yep.
You can see that.
And people are scared. Fear drives that type of thinking and reaction. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I think fear isn't necessarily all of it. I think it's a lot of it is hatred and being all tribal about stuff. Fear definitely plays into it, but I don't.
But why are people tribal? That's the thing. Is like, where does that feeling of like hating others and being tribal, like being exclusive to one or their group, where does it come from? It's fear. Like, think about it. If you're going through tough times and you're like, how do I pay tomorrow's rent? You're scared. How do I eat? I'm scared. What's going on with this coronavirus? I'm scared. Fear. Like, so, what's the answer? Whose fault it is? That dude's fault. That person's fault, right? Like, I don't think it's natural for us to hate each other. Like, it makes no sense. If we were to turn off the video screens and we were just to listen to each other, there's no difference in how we think really and what we're into. Like, we're into cars, right? And the majority of the stuff is like, we're raised a little differently. You might put a little extra salt or a little extra pepper on your pork chop, but you're still gonna eat that pork chop. It's still delicious, right?
Are you hungry?
I think he's hungry.
I'm hungry. I am. I'm always hungry, and I love pork chops. I don't know about. I'm not speaking for all you guys. Some of you guys might be kosher.
You talked about pork chops quite a bit.
I love a pork chop. A good pork chop with applesauce. Woo, that's good food. But,
that's Cindy Brady's line.
Saying. Yeah. So where does it come from? Why would you hate pork chop? Why? Because you're taught that. You're taught that it's bad for you. It's dirty. It's It's a pig. It's like they eat everything. It's like, oh, really? I didn't even know. The only pork I knew was Charlotte's Web, and that was a cute pig, right? And then all of a sudden, once you're taught that, so where does So Jess, like it has to be fear. Like it's not in our nature to hate other people. It's taught, but why would you want? Right?
Yeah, to go deeper, the tribalism is because you're afraid of people taking your shit. Right? And so that is a fear, right? So then you become stronger as a tribe to protect that, to protect your stuff. So whenever there's a break in your border of whatever it is, if it's emotional or spiritual, whatever, you close up and you fight it, right? Instead of going, wait, why are they saying this? And what does this mean? And embrace it. And then let's get along, let's figure this out. The initial reaction is to like, stop it,
So do you think it's fear or conformity or like being a sheep or like there's so many
I
reasons.
think from the beginning of time, fear has always been used to control people.
Yeah.
And so the fear is not necessarily even naturally generated. It's maybe subtly introduced to your thinking because, you know, some people want you to think that way and get you to react that way and get you to follow along and become a follower, like what you're saying. And it's easy to control people when they're scared of stuff. Like whenever a cult gets somebody, it's when they're at their lowest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any of those cults or like some crazy religions or whatever, they get people when they're really low and they tell them like, yeah, you're really scared right now, but I can offer you salvation from this fear, right? I can offer you this freedom. And then that's how they get people, right? And the same thing with politics or same thing with anything is they use those tactics and but any side will use those tactics like, you better do this, otherwise this is going to happen, you know? And they get you thinking that way, and it may not even be true most of the time.
Right.
I mean, the sheep, right? Like the way you're able to herd the sheep is because there's the big bad wolf that's going to come and get you, right? So you got to be afraid of somebody to herd people. There has to be a unified cause, and I think naturally we want to be unified for positive stuff. Look how naturally, like, even our conversation or our get-togethers on this thing is happening. It's because we need it. We need to get together. We need to do something positive. We need each other, right? But then if we were to like put some fear factor into this, it would cause separation, right? But it's you know, I think that's the theme for today's, you know, conversation, because when I go back to, you know, the OPA, you know, the build, like when I first brought it in there, I was so scared of the car, man. Like I opened, it was just like a maze of nonsense and confusion. And I was going, what did I do? I'm glad that I have people that I could send it to, right? And then once I started getting into it, and it's like you said, Daniel, it's like one sand pebble at a time. You realize that somebody else created this. And it's another human being that created it. If they can do it, I can figure it out eventually. Maybe not today or in a month, but with all the resources we have, and if you want something and you're passionate about it, you know, you're gonna figure it out, you know. And I think, you know, within this fear stuff is like, if we're afraid of something, go try to understand it and go figure it out, and then you won't be afraid of it anymore, because it's not that complicated, man. You know, there's no big bad wolf out there. No one wants to get us, you know? No one's trying to get us. So
it's true. It's true. Yeah.
All right. Preach. I think we're going to end it here. I think this is a good place to end it. I don't want to get too deep. It's not a political show, you know what I mean? So it's about cars. So Daniel, thanks for showing your cool cars. Thanks for Shelly, and thanks for showing us the Honda again. Welcome. Thanks for, you know, for the conversation, all your positivity. And Meagan, this was really awesome, because it's great to have somebody your age and give your perspective. And I think you're a great, you know, spokesperson, you know, for your generation, and to get people inspired to, you know, get into cars. And I love the way you think, and I love your energy. And Jess?
Yeah, I love your guys' energy too. Amazing.
I'll open the door for you anytime.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, and not because I think you can't do it. It's because I want to make you happy. All right?
Oh, okay.
All right.
It's the right thing to do, right?
Right.
Right. All right, guys. Big hug to all of you guys.
Yeah.
Big hugs, big hugs, big hugs. Spread love, spread love.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to Sung's Garage. A huge thanks to Daniel for sharing all his cars, and especially Shelly, his 1961 Lincoln Continental. Can't wait to see her in person next time in the Bay. And a very special thanks to Jess and Meagan as my co-hosts. We definitely need to find a way to get you both to SEMA. All right. Y'all be good.